It's Monday, December 23rd, 2024, and this is episode 325 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. I'm Mark Duvall.
And I'm Dr. Mike.
Yeah, Dr. Mike. I'm kind of fighting off a winter bug here. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but still trying to kind of get rid of it. But I'll see if I can get through the episode today.
Leftover Vegas.
Yeah, it started creeping up on me in Vegas. Yeah, that's true.
You'll make it through.
I think so. Yeah, as long as I don't laugh too hard. So we have both gambled since our last trip. I went to Vegas. You went to Diamond Joe Worth yesterday. How did that go?
Yeah, not good. I just got my free play, lost it all.
Oh.
And left.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nothing fun to report. There were no really good rolls, although they were very busy.
All right. So that's your report. Why don't I talk about Las Vegas then? Because I have a little bit more to say.
I hope you have something exciting.
So we left. I drove on Thursday afternoon, left about 3 o'clock. And as it turned out, two of our poker buddies drove with me, David and Bill. You know, I've talked about how I don't really mind the drive.
Right.
I'm glad they came with me on this because this is a drive I would have minded without them. We looked at the GPS before we left, and it said 6.5 hours to Las Vegas.
Oh, my God.
And I kind of did a double take. It's like, what? You know, without stopping, you should be able to do it in about 4.5 hours. And I'm looking at the various things. Oh, gosh, there's going to be traffic somewhere. It even offered an alternate route to Vegas, you know, heading out to the east, out by El Centro.
Like Laughlin and
yeah, like we used to do that. And I'm thinking, there's no way I want to take that drive. That is a boring drive that's not well lit. Yeah. You're on country roads. You know, you're not on a freeway the whole time.
Right.
But it was about the same amount of time. Looking back on it, that might have been faster. I'm guessing it would have been because there would have been less chance for rush hour traffic and accidents.
But you got tractors and zombies.
That's the zombies are what I really don't like on that alternate route for sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But this was the longest it ever took me to drive to Las Vegas.
That can be very, very annoying.
Oh, yeah. You know, I've had long drives home. That you kind of expect, like, okay, everybody's leaving at once.
Yeah, especially if you have to leave like Sunday afternoon.
Yes, that that is the worst. But we're leaving on a Thursday afternoon. Yeah, we knew we'd hit some rush hour, you know, as we kind of move up into Riverside. I mean, you know, that's going to happen. I've done that before. But no, there was construction. It took us like 2 hours to get to Temecula, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. And then the Cajon Pass, which is the big hill that you have to get up to get to the high desert, there were accidents.
Oh, my God.
You know, I was counting. There were times where we'd sit there for 2 minutes without moving.
Why are there accidents on there? There usually is not accidents unless it's like covered with snow or something.
Yeah, right. There was no snow. And we, you know, passed like a ton of cars pulled off to the side. So who knows what happened. Anyway,
oh my God.
We left at about 3 o'clock, got into Vegas just before 11 p.m. You know, that's how bad it was.
So an 8-hour drive.
But thank goodness Bill and David were with me. Bill brought his tablet, so he and David were able to watch the Thursday night football game. So
nice.
That was something. Bill's originally from the Bay Area, so he's a big 49ers fan.
That makes time go by quick. It's okay if you have something to do. If you're just sitting there watching traffic, it's terrible.
It certainly helped them, and it helped me too because I'm able to hear the game. And, you know, able to kind of talk about it. Yeah, it made a big difference. And once we got up to the high desert, you know, it was a clear shot to Las Vegas. So most of it was down, you know, Southern California way. Anyway, this is kind of funny. Bill and David, they didn't stay at a hotel. They stayed at Bill's brother's house. Bill's brother has this beautiful house in Henderson. And their plan was to spend the night there Thursday night, gamble all day with us on Friday, and then Saturday morning take a flight back to San Diego because they were going to compete in a poker tournament at Jamul. And we were kind of laughing, thinking about how often do people fly away from Vegas to go gamble.
You're right.
But as it turns out, they both were in the running for Poker Player of the Year out at Jamul. And so they kind of needed to play in that tournament if they wanted to keep their hopes alive. So
yes,
I think we're still waiting on the results of the year long, but that's why they went back.
I gotcha. So they endured an 8-hour drive to Vegas.
Yeah. It's the first time Bill had ever driven to Vegas.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Hell, that'll put an end to that.
Yeah.
He'll never be driving again. And then they stayed at a relative's house.
Yeah.
Gambled for a day.
Yeah.
And flew home.
Yes.
Sounds like something we would do when we were 20.
Yeah.
Although these guys are in their 60s. That's a good story, I guess. I hope. Did they do well in the tournament when they got back?
I think they did well enough. I don't know what the final results are for the whole year, but yes, I think David at least made the final table. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay. Poker Player of the Year for Hamul.
For Hamul, yeah. I think it's like a couple $100 or something like that. It's more prestige than anything.
The roaring metropolitan that is Hamul.
All right, so let me tell you about my trips. We stayed at the Orleans like we did last year because they have a fantastic poker room. The only problem is in December, they've got a poker series running, so their regular tournament schedule is not in effect. And so any tournament that you're playing, it's really part of this series. So if you're not interested in this series or you're not going to be staying long enough to really take part of anything, it's not the time to go for tournaments. But the cash games, they're going all the time, a lot of Omaha games. Again, a great poker room there. You may remember, Dr. Mike, last year, I talked about how long the hallways are in the hotel, right. How it was the furthest I've ever had to walk, to get from the elevator to my room. Same thing this year. I had a room at the very end of the hallway, and I decided to count it. It was 156 steps.
Wow.
From the elevator to my hotel room. And I'm about 6 foot tall, so...
Yeah, so a step for you is probably like, I don't know, 2.5 feet, maybe?
Something like that, but 156 steps. And here's the other thing. The ice maker is by the elevators. So in order to go get ice, I had to take 312 steps there and back. It seemed like
you
forever.
Got your workout.
Oh, my gosh. It was so...
The thing is, Mark, when you leave the room to go gamble, you take the ice bucket with you.
Uh-huh.
You carry it with you all day.
All day, no matter if we go to other casinos or whatever.
Yeah, you're carrying your ice bucket.
Yeah.
So when you come back, you can get ice, for your drinks
I'm
before
on my
you
way
go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Save some walking.
Why do you have that? Well, it's so that I don't have to take the extra 312 steps.
Right. It seems pretty obvious to me.
Yeah. See, that's going to be a trend now. People walking around with their ice buckets.
Their ice buckets. They should start making the ice buckets like a decorative kind of hat or something.
Oh, there you go.
So people can just, wear it.
Yeah.
You don't have to hassle with carrying it.
Maybe a little protector to keep the lice out of your ice bucket.
I like the MGM logo on your hat there. That's nice.
Oh, thanks. It does look a little awkward. Is it comfortable? Not really.
No, but I won't forget it, underneath the rail of a craps table this way. A little plastic strap that goes around your chin that holds it. You'll look like one of the guards in Wizard of Oz.
It's another great trend that's coming to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But we had a good time at the Orleans. Let me tell you some stories. So David and I, at one point, played some face-up Pai Gow poker. It is much harder now to find traditional Pai Gow poker in Las Vegas, certainly on the Strip. I'm sure plenty of the locals casinos have it. Maybe, you go off Strip, that kind of thing. But it's harder to find now. And the Orleans, it was only face-up Pai Gow poker. And I don't mind it. When we first heard about it, it's like, oh, well, that takes all the fun away. You don't have any decisions really to make. Oh, should I go pair? Should I keep the two pair together? But I don't mind it. Let me say this up front, though, Dr. Mike.
Yes.
On 2 occasions during my face-up Pai Gow poker session, I fouled my hand.
What?
That's correct. Playing Pai Gow poker for as long as I have, twice I fouled my hand.
Is there alcohol involved in this story?
I can't recall, but here were the hands. Right. At one point, I was dealt kings and queens, along with the joker. And for whatever reason, I put kings in the 2-card hand and kept the queens behind. I said it so fast Maybe I just got spoiled and thought, oh, yeah, okay, I'll set it. I don't know what I was thinking. The Joker messed me up. There was no excuse for this foul. She turned it over. I realized what I'd done. And she just very quickly, oh, it's no big deal. You know, if you'd said it correctly, you would have won and paid me. So I was like, oh, okay, good. So they will essentially let you reset your hand, although I didn't have to. She just flipped it over and, oh, yeah, you would have won.
No, you should have said, no, I lost. I fouled, and I accept that situation. It's all on me. Keep your money.
I sat there thinking, you know, is somebody going to come by from the eye in the sky, say, sir, there were a few hands ago where you actually fouled your hand. We're going to need that money back.
And interest.
All right. The other hand, there's kind of an excuse behind it, but not really. But here's what happened. Remember, this is face-up Pai Gow poker. The dealer turned over her hand, and she had a pair of aces with Jack 10 up front. So, you know, she's got a decent enough hand. Pair of aces, but, you know, not a very good two-card
Not a
hand.
very good head. Yeah.
I look at my cards, and I've got a pair of queens, 9, 8. So this is one of those situations where knowing what the dealer has helps you. In regular Pai Gow poker, I would have played a pair of queens, 9, 8. But in this case, I need to split my queens so that I push.
Queen 9 on top.
Yeah. I'm glad that you also fouled the hand, Dr. Mike. Because I put Queen 9 up top.
Oh, Queen 9. Yeah, you'd be Queen 8. Queen 9 below. Yeah.
That's exactly what I did too. I put Queen 9 up top instead of Queen 8. So again, breaking the rule that the 5-card hand has to be higher.
Yeah, that's thinking a little bit about that.
Yeah. And so that's why I said there was kind of more of an excuse, because you would never play the hand that way in regular Pai Gow poker.
Right.
But in this case, you know, she flipped it over, you just kept going. Flipped it over, saw that it was pushed, kept going. Didn't even see that it was fouled. So I'm guessing that the policy basically is, if you'd played the hand correctly, that's kind of the way they play it for you. There are probably some exceptions, but at least...
So then what's the use of the game? The only thing you're doing then is putting a bet out there.
Dr. Mike, that's a great argument for why face-up Pai Gow poker is bad.
Yeah.
Right? Because there is no decision involved. And I understand why people don't like it, because it's taking away a very important part of the game for them. That is deciding how to play your hand. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, my comments on this are, when somebody asks you, is there alcohol involved? And your answer is, I don't remember. Then that, according to Webster's Modern Dictionary, is a yes.
Okay. Yeah.
There must have been alcohol involved.
Probably, but I don't blame it on that. I blame it on me just going too fast.
Yeah. The reason we played Pai Gow back in the day a lot is because it was interesting. It was one of those situations, you know, and when you're going against other people, not just the house, you know, it was interesting to see how you're going to set that and what you're going to do. When you take all that away, it's like sitting at home playing blackjack with yourself, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
I mean,
whatever.
That's a good argument. At the same time, our good friend Paul, who we thought would hate face-up Pai Gow poker, loves it. He prefers it. So go figure.
Well, yeah. I'm not wasting any time at a face-up Pai Gow table.
All right. Well, I know that. You're not wasting any time at a regular Pai Gow table. I know how.
Right. Not anymore.
One more thing that happened at the table. At least twice, the dealer, on a hand that I pushed, she took my bet as if I had lost, and I had to call her on it. And the reason she was doing it may be muscle memory. She was so used to taking people's side bet away on push hands. And of course, I don't have a side bet, so that's the only bet that's out there.
Right.
She did it at least twice, and there were a couple of times where she was about to do it and stopped herself. So that's just something to be aware of. If you've got a push hand, I push. Don't get up to go to the bathroom until the dealer has graded the hand and determined. So anyway,
that's one way to look at it. You could also look at it like always make a side bet.
Oh yeah, that's another way to look at it too. Yeah. All right. So what else did we do? So all told, there were 6 of us there basically for this trip. Bill and David, again, who drove with me and went home Saturday morning. There was Jerry, who now lives in Las Vegas. He moved there this year. So, of course, he met us there. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, I didn't tell you that? Yeah.
No,
So,
I didn't know that.
And then Glenn and Chris, who flew over. So 6 altogether. Once David and Bill flew home, it was just the 4 of us. And so I said, hey, do you want to go down to Circa? None of them had been to Circa before. And the Army-Navy game was about to start. And I thought, this will be great. So we went down to Circa. There was plenty of room to get seats in the sports book to actually watch the games. So that was good. If we'd gone on an NFL Sunday, we would have had to pay for it. But, there were seats. So I think they really enjoyed that. While they were watching the game, I played some craps and ran into Hutch. Remember Hutch from...
Yeah.
I think I first met him in Biloxi.
So, right.
Yep, he was there. And also Eric Anderson and Rodolfo. They just happened to be in Las Vegas at the time. They might have been... I can't remember if they were staying at Circa or not. But ran into them, too, and played some craps with them. So it was good to see those guys again. So, Mike, you know how at Circa, the way the ventilation works is they have these vents kind of on the floor, and it blows the air up. And it's kind of good at getting the smoke out of there.
Yep.
So I'm standing at the craps table, and I'm wearing that oversized Vegas Golden Knights shirt that I got there when you and I went a few years back. Right? It's kind of big on me, right?
Yeah, right.
And it turns out I'm right above one of those vents.
Uh-huh.
And I'm standing there thinking, what's going on? It's like blowing up my shirt. I felt like Marilyn Monroe in the 7-Year Itch. It's just, I felt pretty stupid, but it was giving me some nice, cool tent action on my,
Yeah. Blowing smoke up your behind.
Yeah, exactly.
Is what it was.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened at the craps table. We ended up going over and eating at 8 East, which is their Asian restaurant. They're just absolutely fabulous meal. The best meal we had all weekend. One of the best meals we all agreed that we've ever had in Las Vegas. Just delicious. Yeah, everything was so flavorful. We got the short rib dumplings. We got stir-fried bok choy. We got cumin lamb lollipops. Delicious. Sizzling noodle with chicken. And, of course, their brisket fried rice, which is what they're kind of known for. Just incredible.
Nice. Oh, it sounds good. You're making me hungry for Chinese food.
Yep.
And I do love it. It's just hard to get around here.
I'll bet.
Yeah. I have to drive about an hour.
Yeah, so Circa was great. Let's see. For the whole trip, I was a winner at Keno.
Nice.
I cannot say that about any of the other games, but I would do some overnight Keno. And the very first one I did, I was very surprised. Next morning, I usually play a 4 spot, which I did this time. And I must have hit all 4 on one of them overnight because it was a nice payout.
Yeah, like I told you when you texted me about that, Keno's the game.
Yeah.
It's the hidden gem in every casino.
24/7 at the Orleans.
Nice. A live game is preferable.
Oh, oh, yeah. Compared to just sitting at a machine. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the live game. I mean, there's a lot of action going on.
Yeah. Well, one of the highlights of the trip on Sunday, Glenn and I decided to play in a Torse tournament at Wynn. Now, what is Torse? Torse is a structure where you're actually playing 5 different games. You rotate. You've probably heard of horse before, but this is Torse. So the first letter in horse stands for Hold'em. They eliminate Hold'em from this for Torse. So the T in
triple draw?
Triple draw, yes. Deuce to 7 triple draw.
Yeah.
And then the O is Omaha 8 or better. The R is Raz. The S is 7-card stud. And the E is stud 8, which is basically 7-card stud high-low split. And, of course, it's limit. To play all this no limit would be a little rough.
A nightmare,
a limit. We really enjoyed this. Neither one of us cashed. But, for me, I always kind of struggle with poker in the casino, especially if I'm not playing with my friends. And do I get bored? That kind of thing. This was great because the games kept changing. And you kind of had to stay on your toes, right?
It's a mental workout because the games change and it's easy after a while to get like, now what were we playing again?
I know, especially since you're playing 3 different 7-card stud games. you can
Right.
sometimes forget which game you're playing. Now, they had these big placards on the table to show what game you were playing at any time, so you could always look over there. But
Yeah.
if your mind's wandering or something, suddenly,
Yeah,
I
no,
got
it's
the
not.
nuts.
It's not a game for somebody who's wants a nice, relaxing setting. It keeps you on your feet.
So Torse, it was actually part of WPT. We really enjoyed that. A couple more stories here. Again, not a winning trip, but definitely did have some fun. I played craps on the two best rolls of the whole trip were the very first roll when I got there that I rolled myself, 3 or 4 points, something like that. And the very last roll on the Sunday night that we were there. Guy got on a roll, made some points, I made a little money, and then I cashed out. So those are the only two really interesting rolls. Some things that happened at that last table. So the dice were about to be sent to a player who had gotten there during the last shooter. And this new player was a don't player.
Oh, okay.
And it was his turn to roll. And the guy who was next to roll after him was making a big deal with, no, it's not his turn. You know, he just got here. It's not his turn. Made a big deal about it, even though he was wrong.
Right.
But the don't shooter said, that's fine. You can roll. I don't need to roll. You know, go ahead. So he was very gracious about it. And then the guy kept kind of going on. No, it's my turn. Sir, he's letting you roll. So this guy gets the dice. We're in the middle of the hand. We're playing. And all of a sudden someone says, where's the shooter? He wasn't there. He had left the table. It turns out he had left the table to go to an ATM to get more money.
What?
This guy who made such a big deal about it's my turn to roll.
Now, this is in the middle of his roll.
It's in the middle of his roll. It's not
so
even
he's
on
got
a
money on
come-out
the
roll.
table.
Yeah. They pulled the pit over, and the pit's like, well, folks, if you don't mind waiting a couple minutes here, hopefully he'll come back. And if he doesn't, then I'll make a decision and we'll move on. And the guy, did come back with more money. He had gone to the ATM in the middle of his roll. So the two things are what really, just if that had happened on its own, that's crazy. But the fact that he made a big deal about it's my turn to roll, and then in the middle of his roll went to the ATM, that was great.
So there's the definition, Mark, of somebody who thinks the world revolves around them.
I guess so.
Everyone else is not really in this world. It's just them. Oh my God. I would have laid into him. That's a new one.
Yeah, I've never.
I'll give you that.
I've heard it. We've been there where it's like, I'm sorry, I really have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
Can you wait
some guys
until
on
I get back? Yeah,
Some guys on a good roll. Yeah, go ahead. We'll wait. Especially, I remember a few times it was like us and just a couple more people.
Yeah.
And, we're not in a hurry. Go ahead. Go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But that's one thing. Stopping to go to the ATM.
Yeah.
So he was going to buy in the middle of his own roll?
And he did. I guess there were more bets that he wanted to make and he didn't have money for them. Yeah, that was a good one.
How about if he just let the other guy roll? Went and got cash and then came back and rolled.
Oh, you're coming up with a reasonable solution to what actually happened, Dr. Mike?
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to work it out in my own head, Mark, before my head explodes. Why would a guy do this? And the answer is, what the hell's wrong with people? It's the question I ask every day.
Sure.
What the hell's wrong with people?
You should be old enough, though, now, Dr. Mike, to know that you'll never get the answer to that question. It's been going on your whole life.
Yeah, Methuselah asked it his whole life, and he never got it. But I'm hoping that someday somebody just gives me a real simple here's what's happening, Mike.
Okay. This guy that was the don't player, he was kind of interesting because he was doing things that were just wrong. So, for example, he was on the don't. No action on the 6 and 8. He even did no action on the 5 at one point.
That's a smart move.
He moved. At some point, he was actually playing with us on the pass line. He moved his odds bet from behind the pass line, the point was 6, and gave it to the dealer to make a place bet on the 6. And so he and I started talking. He was really a pretty good guy. He said, I know it's wrong. Mathematically, it's wrong. It's not the right thing to do. I'm superstitious. I do all these things. I know that mathematically they don't make sense. And I said, okay, So you know that you don't know what you're doing. And he said, yes, that's it.
Well, and now, see, I can respect that guy.
Yes, exactly. Because he knew.
It's like somebody knowing they have a problem, they just can't help but do it.
Yeah.
And that actually is logical, right? It's like, well, I've got this problem. I can't stop doing it.
Yeah.
So, at least I'm going to own up to it.
And then one more thing that happened at that table. We had a very good cruise the whole time. And I always like when the dealers have certain lines that they use over and over. And at one point, this one player was, colored up. And he turns to the dealer and says, "Oh, where's the cashier?" And the dealer said, "Oh, it's right over there on the left. Hurry up before they close." And I was just laughing at that because, if somebody wasn't used to casinos, maybe, I've got to
got to get over
I don't want to do it before they close. Of course, they never close. Now, I shouldn't say never. I remember, when we were staying at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe, there was a point where the cashier closed and you had to walk over to Harvey's, to cash out your chips.
Right. Yeah. So, you had to go to Harvey's because they were open 24/7.
But I thought that was pretty good. Just, a little line they throw out there. It's right over there. Hurry up.
Hurry up. They're waiting. They're holding it open for you.
So a great trip. I drove home, no problem at all. Got home in about 4.5 hours. I left on Monday morning, probably left at about 9 a.m. So, no problem coming home that way.
Well, you took strangers with you. That's what happened going there,
yeah.
Mark.
Well, okay.
Not strangers, but people who weren't used to driving.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, they weren't strangers. They're my best friends now. We've spent 8 hours in a car trying to get to Vegas. One thing I loved about this trip, too, I don't get to Las Vegas too often when it's cold.
Yeah.
And it wasn't it was chilly. It was probably in the 50s, maybe got into the 40s if you went
that's
out
terrible.
at night. But I remember going back in the 80s with my grandparents. Remember, I used to take them kind of once a year. We'd always go around Christmas time. And sometimes it'd get down into the teens. It was really cold for Las Vegas. But I got kind of nostalgic just feeling the crisp air, and being in Las Vegas. Those were great deals. Remember, it used to be like in 1988, Hilton. We'd always go to Hilton. Hilton would have this deal where for $19.88 a person, you got 2 nights at the hotel and a free dinner at any one of their restaurants, even like the pricey steakhouse and everything. My grandfather loved those deals. So anyway, the cold air, I kind of liked it.
Yeah, I remember my dad and I driving to Vegas, and we got to State Line, and it was snowing. And we thought that was cool, we're going to have snow in Vegas. Well, it doesn't really stick, but it was fun. No.
All right, well, that's the trip. Great trip. I do want to tell one more story from the trip, but we'll just say that's my trip report because this next story is kind of unfortunate. We went over, when we were downtown, went over to Golden Nugget, and Jerry and Chris and Glenn went and played some poker, and I went to play some craps. So playing craps there, having a pretty good time. There's a guy next to me. We start kind of getting friendly, and we're having a good time, and it's having some pretty good rolls. He gets the dice, and he has a very lavish sort of way of shooting. He rubs the dice on the table and moves them around, and then picks them up, and then gives them real good shakes. Shakes it for about 5-6 seconds, lets them go. It was not one of those situations where somebody just sits there and concentrates and doesn't do anything. He was very animated. Come on, let's go. And we're having a really good time. And he starts making some points, making some numbers, and it's pretty exciting. Well, as he was shaking the dice, sometimes he'd pull his hand a little bit too far off the table. Right? They want you to kind of keep your hand in there.
Right.
And the boxman said something, and the guy said, "Oh, yeah, okay. And accommodated the boxman, kept it in there. So the roll continues, and then the boxman is saying, you can't shake them that much.
What?
And we're like, you can't shake the dice? What are you talking about? And the boxman says, no, you can't. So again, the guy who's shooting, he's being accommodating. He's like, okay, I'll only shake it a little bit and let it go. And the boxman keeps riding this guy. And, I'm thinking, how come the boxman is saying something now instead of when he first started to roll?
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't until he started having a good roll. And the guy's being accommodating. And at one point, the shooter does drop an F-bomb. but it was more of like a conversational F-bomb, right? It wasn't like
part of his language.
Yeah, right. It wasn't like he was making any kind of threat or saying something directly to the boxman. So finally, he sevens out and everybody's real happy with the roll. And suddenly there are 2 security guards by him. They're trespassing him. They are 86ing him from the casino.
Are you serious?
For a year. And everyone at the table is just incredulous, except for this boxman. Even some of the dealers were turning to security and saying, no, don't take him away. He didn't do anything. Everybody at the table is behind this shooter. Nobody was mad at the way he was doing it. So, I mean, this was just ridiculous. I said, forget it. Color me up.
Yeah.
Right? I am out of here. I had told the shooter about our podcast. And I gave him our card. And I said, if you want to call into the show to talk about this, please do. Because this was ridiculous what just happened to you. And if you're listening, I never got his name, in the course of all this is going on. Yeah, please call in if you'd like to. But I'll tell you, Dr. Mike, I've always been on the fence as far as Golden Nugget goes. We even talked about it, I think, a few episodes back.
Right.
This pushed me off the fence. I'm never going back to Golden Nugget.
And you know what, Mark? I don't think I will either. That's ridiculous.
It really is.
We've had some instances there where I know you, over the years, really, when I say let's go to Golden Nugget, you're like, I don't know. Yeah. I won't go there anymore. Yeah. Now, this kind of ticks me off a little bit, and then past experiences, but why? I can go to Circa.
Yeah, right.
I can go across the street and have a much better time. I don't know what their deal is there. I mean, what was that boxman? What was his real motive? Way to drive away business, Golden Nugget.
Yeah, and it was just the boxman.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about it. So, you can just have one bad employee can mess you up for, your experience. And usually I'll give a place another chance. But Golden Nugget, we've been going there for years. And like I said, I'm always torn. And I'm not torn anymore.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, sorry about the bummer story at the end there, because it was a very good trip. And it's probably something we're going to be doing every year.
Oh, good.
Yeah. All right. Well, remember you had asked a question a few episodes ago about how much law enforcement cares about bookies, small-time bookies. And we did get a response from a law enforcement officer in Utah. We got another response here. I'm going to read it to you. I've been with the same department in Texas in a city with a population of just under 1 million. During a part of my career, I worked in Vice, and at the time, our primary focus was on illegal gaming. But I can tell you that a majority of the game rooms we closed down were because of supplementary issues that were going on. Drugs, prostitution, etc. And that's kind of what you were getting at, Mike, too.
Right.
As the saying goes, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I can only think of one bookmaker we went after, and that was due to, once again, other crimes at play. Even then, we were not interested in his customers as much as we were interested in the other crimes committed. So while I am not telling you to make illegal bets, I really don't think law enforcement has much interest in a couple nice guys making minimal bets as research for their popular podcast. So even in the first part of his email, he was talking about how they were closing down game rooms. So, it's maybe there was some bookmaking going on, but it wasn't like they were going after a bookmaker. It was more like, okay, it's a game room. There's a lot of other stuff going on, etc.
Yeah.
And then the end of his email, this is kind of funny. He says, if Dr. Mike starts to log his gambling, which we all know will not happen, then just remind him that all of the documentation is what we refer to as evidence. As always, thanks for the show. So there you go, Dr. Mike.
Evidence. Yeah, see, so a good reason not to document anything.
That's right. And we also got an email from listener Dan. I'm from Houston, Texas, and my casino options are limited. We have Naskila Casino in Livingston, Texas, which is an Indian casino that only has Class 2 slot machines, and Kickapoo Casino in Eagle Pass, Texas, 5 to 6 hours close to the border. Our other options are Oklahoma, 5-hour drive, and table games require ante, or Louisiana, 2 to 3 hours. But then there's the other option of online gambling. which is not legal in Texas. I am tempted to drive to Louisiana just to sign up for online casinos that have deposit matches and other promotions. Have you all tried online casinos? Is it safe or is it risky? What is the general process? And do you think it is a good strategy play to churn through different online casino promotions? Thank you for your content, and I look forward to the next episode. I'd say this, Dan. I think the days of churning through these promotions are probably gone. They existed in the early 2000s and maybe mid 2000s, but unless you're talking about brand new sports books entering a state,
right?
I don't think it is worth it. Certainly, even if you were to drive to Louisiana and take advantage of some sign-on bonuses, which I don't think they'll be that great, it's not like you can come back and play online in Texas on those signups, again, because it's not legal. So have we done it? I've never done online casinos. I think if they are licensed in the state where you can play them, then sure, I think they're fine. But for someone who lives in Texas, I don't know if that's really an option for you that you want to pursue.
Yeah. Dan, I just drove yesterday 2 hours down to Iowa to go to the casino. So if I was you, I'd take the 2-hour drive to Louisiana.
Yeah, Louisiana. We're sorry. We know what that's like. It used to be for us, Las Vegas was the closest when we wanted to play, and that was, a 5-hour drive. So who knows? Things may change for Texas. They certainly are talking about it quite a bit.
Yeah, it seems like they're lagging on that a little bit. I can't believe that a state as populous as Texas could not use the revenue.
Yeah, something might change.
On a similar note, yesterday when I went to Diamond Joe to get my free play, I realized I had forgot my card. So when I got there, I had to get a new card. So there were a couple of people in line in front of me, and one of them was a guy who had never been there and wanted to get a card. And she explained to him that being a first time in that casino person, he would not be getting any sort of bonus money or any kind of gift or anything from the casino. But if he used his card everywhere he played in machines or tables, then they would evaluate his play and be sending him a mailer or something with some pre-play on it.
Okay, so nothing up front. A lot of places have sign-up bonuses, but not here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, no sign-up bonus, but they will evaluate your play after your first day there, and they will send you something, so that you can come back, and you'll definitely get some pre-play of some amount.
Yeah.
Now, I'm thinking to myself, I'm standing behind the guy, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. His first time here, what if he's just passing through?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't really help him. He gets back home in Arkansas or something, and he gets a mailer for, $20 free play or something. I don't know. It just seems like, well, that's kind of tight. Why not give the guy like $10 free play?
Yeah.
Or something,
that's usually what happens. Who knows? Their marketing department, it's up to them, I guess.
Anyway, I was just sitting there thinking, wow, that's pretty tight on a casino's part.
Really.
I mean, I know how business works, but give the guy like $10 or even $5. We've done it where we got $5, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, okay, big deal. But the difference is if you're at home and you get a flyer for $5, it's like, well, I'm not going to make the trip. But if you're already there and they're giving you $5, okay, great.
Right.
I feel appreciated.
Give them a $10 food voucher.
Yeah, something. Right.
So they can go to the hamburger place or Subway or whatever, and just get a sandwich, right? You'd be like, oh, great. I can, get a sandwich. Yeah. Anyway, so that Dan's kind of reminded me of that when he was talking about how, you're going places and you got a long ways to drive. You get there, there's no incentive.
Yeah. Yep. So, Dr. Mike, we have some phone calls. I'm thinking I'd like to save them for our next episode. Plus, my voice, I've been editing out most of my coughing, but I've been struggling a little bit trying to get through the episode.
It's been like a constant cough for you. I mean, people aren't going to hear that after you edit it, but yeah, Mark has had to say a few lines and stop and cough.
Yeah. So, plus, now that we're in the holidays, I'd like to make sure we have enough material for our next show. And of course, we always lean on our listeners for that. And maybe if we save those phone calls, then we're guaranteed to talk about things next time.
Yep, that sounds good.
All right. Well, we want to thank some people for some recurring donations. From Nathan, from Brian Dancer, from Brian and Sarah, and from Josh. Thank you very much for those recurring donations. We also got a donation from listener David. Heading to Vegas Saturday with my buddies and listening to some of your old casts to get in the mood. A donation seems in order. Thanks for doing what you do. Oh, well, thank you very much, David. Yeah, hopefully you're having some good luck. Also, a donation from Andrew. Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, sending some good juju your way before me and my friend Mark's annual trip to Shreveport. We'll be catching up on your episodes on the way. Thanks for all the great work, Andrew and Mark. All right, very good.
Great.
Good luck.
Good luck, guys. Yeah.
Also, a donation from Pat G. Karma donation for upcoming annual post-Christmas Atlantic City trip. Thanks, Mark and Dr. Mike, for all you do. All right, good luck, Pat G. in Jersey.
Yeah, I wonder what post-Christmas in Atlantic City is like.
Chilly, a little chilly, probably a little windy.
Well, yeah, cold,
inside.
But are you going to be crowded, do you think?
I don't know. Post-Christmas. So is that the weekend between Christmas and New Year's? I imagine it'd be, not too many people and be able to get on tables. So.
Well, maybe a lot of people,
I don't know. I think it's probably like in Vegas, like a lot of people show up for New Year's.
Right.
But then maybe, before and after, not so much.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And finally, a donation from Troy. Karma donation for a 4-night stay at Fontainebleau and downtown, in between the Cowboys and Christmas. Always love your guys' content. Well, thank you very much, Troy. Yeah, a lot of Cowboys in Las Vegas when we were there. The National Finals Rodeo was not taking place at the Orleans, but they did have barrel racing going on there that I don't think was associated with the NFR. Just have it at the same time thing. Just to, kind of take advantage of them all being there. So, of course, all the Cowboys, very polite. Great to have them at the table. Yeah, it was great.
Wonderful people. And barrel racing, that's mostly females, too. Right?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. Oh, their cowgirls were everywhere, Dr. Mike.
That's like a young man's dream, Mark.
Hey, at the top of our webpage, you'll find a link to our store where you can buy You Can Bet on That merchandise. Also, you can find a list of all the gambling-related shows coming up on American television at youcanbetonThat.com/TV-listings. And we've got a list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonThat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat and on Facebook at Facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. Well, Merry Christmas. That's coming up just a couple of days after we drop this episode. And Happy New Year. And Hanukkah this year starts on Christmas night. So,
nice.
Everybody please enjoy their holiday and any vacation that you get out of this.
Be safe and enjoy your family because, you just never know. Look at Ricky Henderson, right?
Yeah, I know. Gosh. And it was pneumonia, right?
Right. He's like just a little older than me.
Yeah, just a little older. Yeah, his birthday's on Christmas Day.
I thought about that all yesterday when I saw it because I thought it's sad that, you just never know.
Yeah.
Really, the most important people in your life are usually your family and close friends. And so spend time with them, have fun with them, whatever, whether it be at a casino or at home playing the new Phase 10 game that's out.
Okay.
My daughter's bought a new Phase 10 game. Yeah, it's a little more complicated and always fun to play that. I tend to get a little competitive.
Uh-huh.
No reason to let family win when I should be winning.
Getting some conflicting messages here from you, Dr. Mike. Right. Anything else before we leave here, before the end of the year?
I've got a very important announcement, Mark. You are speaking with the new head coach of the Adaptive Bowling team in Houston, Minnesota.
Adaptive Bowling. And is that for special needs?
Yep.
Okay.
It's bowling for special needs. They had a hard time finding a coach, so I said, I will do that. Even though bowling now for me is very difficult.
Yeah, you can't really do it. But in your day...
I can't really bowl, but in my day I could.
You were a good bowler for sure.
Yeah, so it's fun too. There's one little girl, Abby, Down syndrome, and for an hour she will constantly bowl. She can't wait for the ball to return.
That's great.
And then she'll pick it up and bowl again. And she won't stop to eat. I bought pizza. She won't stop to eat the pizza. She just wants to bowl. And she loves it. So I get a big kick out of that. But yeah, it's fun. So, anybody who is interested in stuff like that, there's plenty of ways to give back.
Oh, that's great. Good. Well, congratulations, Dr. Mike.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm looking to, maybe move up in the ranks.
Sure.
Yeah, get some college that needs me, that wants to pay me like $3 million a year to be the coach.
All right. Good luck with that.
Yeah, you'll see me on ESPN, I think. Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you next year, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Mark, that was wonderful. I had no idea you were so talented. The audience is going to love you.